Hello, we are going to work with our clay today, but this week we're going to focus more on sculpture and modeling, which is one of my favorite things to do with clay. So we're going to make this lion. I'll put this aside so we see what our end goal is. And I want you to pick up your clay, and if you haven't already, spend a little time warming it up and making it easier to work with. If it still feels a little tight and not as stretchy, spend a couple minutes squeezing and folding it until it feels a little bit softer. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out the clay because we want to make sure we have enough for all the different pieces that I want to add on here. So in order to do that, you will need a scissor and a pencil. If you don't have a scissor, you can still do this project, but the scissor is going to help you with a lot of these steps. All right, so here's my clay. I don't care how nice it looks because I'm just measuring things out. But I want you to take the ball here and let's roll it out into a coil, but not a big one. About that large, okay? Kind of like a little hot dog. We're going to cut this coil in half. So you can take your scissor, snip it right down the middle. Okay, now we have two pieces. Take the larger of the two pieces. If it's a little uneven, like this one's a little bigger than the other, pick that one up and cut that one in half again. So now I have a half and then 2/4. See? Now, this is going to be the lion's mane, this is going to be the lion's head, and this is going to be all the things on his face. Okay, so the big piece is what we're going to start with first. So let's move these two little ones aside and pick up the biggest piece we've got. All right, now I'm going to roll that into a ball. And flatten it into that pancake as we've done a couple times already. Remember, it is about control. Don't just squash it because you want to feel if the clay is getting too thin. You don't want any holes. So I like walking my fingers around so I can sense where I might need to put a little bit less pressure. Make sure you go along the edges. That's going to make the clay nice and wide, which is what we want. Because this is going to become the mane right here. All right, once you have a decent sized pancake, see how it almost fills up my hand? That's kind of great. We're going to put that aside because we're going to build the face on top of this. Now, whichever piece is larger, you're going to grab that one next. So this piece is a little bigger than the other. I'm going to use this to make my lion's head. So once again, we're going to roll into a ball. And we're going to flatten, but we're going to be a little bit more mindful of the shape we're making. I want you to make something like an oval. So not a perfect circle. So now you're going to have to really use your fingers to shape everything. Okay. So, see now I have that. You want to think about the shape of a lion's head. Okay, it's not perfectly round. It's more skinny, like so. So notice I'm using my fingers, putting it in my hand so I can really see if I've got that shape down. Don't worry about the ears, the eyes, or anything else. We're just thinking about the head shape. Once you've got that, put it right in the center of your pancake. And once it's on there, change some things up. Make sure it's all flat. Make sure no pieces are bulging out. Be happy with your shape before you move on. Okay, now these should be stuck together, like so. Now this piece is going to be for everything else. So we got to be a little bit careful about what we pick off. The first thing I like to make is the nose, because that's going to help me figure out where the rest of the face goes. See the little mark I made? That's where the nose is going to go. You can do that too if you'd like. But I'm going to grab a little pinch of clay between my fingers, roll that into a tiny, tiny ball, and I'm going to place it right there and press down. Okay, see that's right in the middle. Next, I want to make the eyes, and I want to make sure that they're even. And this is where it really comes down to touch. You should feel the clay and how large it is in your hands, and then try to recreate that with another piece of clay. You need two spheres around the same size. So I got both of these touching them, trying to figure out if this one's bigger than the other. But you want them about the same. And notice they're about the size of a green pea, right? And I'm going to put those over the nose and gently press them down into little pancakes. And then I want to make his snout, which is going to be 3 little spheres. So you're kind of going to repeat the same step that you just did with the eyes. So you need 2 tiny ones. So there's 1. And there's 2. They're definitely not the same size. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. See? Like that. We're going to put those under the nose. 1 over here and 1 over here. Okay? It looks a little weird. Don't worry, it's going to get better. And then we need 1 last piece for his chin. Okay? So you need to find a piece of clay that kind of fits in between these 2. So I'm pinching off a little bit. I'm going to press it down and kind of mold it into this spot. Because I want to make it look like kind of like a triangle. See, that fits in? And then it kind of gives it the mouth shape that I want. So this one's a little bit more house-shaped than these 2. Oh, and then I also want ears. So everything is very symmetrical. So you're making 2 of everything. We're going to make 2 more little spheres. About that big. That's not the same size. Oh my gosh. That's good. Got these 2. Put them at the top of his little head. Now this could be a line, but it's kind of blank. This is where our pencil and our scissor come in. I have a little bit left over. We can do some stuff with this later. All right, so first, with your pencil, let's make some pupils. So I'm using the tip of it, kind of stirring it around. Now my little lion can see. Then I'm going to make some nostrils, and that's going to go into that nose from the side. See, I'm going from the bottom and up. That looks good. And then another one here. And see how it kind of makes the shape change a little bit into more of a triangle? See, I'll show you what I mean. See, they go up in the nose, just like your nose. You want to go up and in. All right, and then I'm going to add some dots where his whiskers would be. And then with my pencil, I kind of want to, let me get closer here, kind of shape this a little bit more. So I'm using the side of it to make this a little bit deeper. So kind of using my pencil as a clay tool. 1 over here and over there. Yeah. And then with my eraser, I can make the ears by pressing in over here and over here. That's much more like a lion. That looks a lot better. And now for the fun part. With your scissor, you can create the texture of his mane. So carefully snip your way around. This is, guys, this is really fun. It's very satisfying cutting through the clay. And that's what's nice about Model Magic. It's not going to damage your scissors in the slightest. But please don't hurt your fingers. And you want to cut up right up to the face. How cool is that, right? I'm really happy with how these turned out. I cannot wait to see how yours turn out. And if you really love it and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to destroy it, then maybe don't. You have 2 packages of clay. You can always use the other one. And you could let this dry out and paint it if you're really satisfied. Also, those extra pieces of clay, maybe you might want to add, something fun like a tongue, or maybe give him a crown because he's the king. Your choice. But I hope you had a lot of success with this. I can't wait to see them.